No, they're going to call it cockiness, they're going to call it arrogance, but you're going to call it confidence. Because I don't want my confidence to, I'm going to say something and I want you to hold on to it, all right? Get your cameras ready because this is game. Do not allow my confidence to offend your insecurity. If I could get up and dance, I would dance right now. If I could get up and shout, I would shout right now. Do not allow my confidence to offend your insecurity, because I dress like I dress because I'm confident. I look like I look because he's confident. We walk like we walk because we're confident. I don't even use cologne. Now, somebody asked me, what is that you're wearing? I said, confidence. It's my natural odor. It's my natural odor. I don't have to use Dolce or whatever it is. It's my natural odor. Come on, coach, let's do it. Because if you look good, you feel good. And if you feel good, you play good. If you play good, they pays good. Sometimes you got to know what you know. They're going to call it cockiness. They're going to call it arrogance, but you're going to call it confidence. Because I don't want my confidence to, I'm going to say something and I want you to hold on to it, all right? Get your cameras ready because this is game. Do not allow my confidence to offend your insecurity. If I could get up and dance, I would dance right now. If I could get up and shout, I would shout right now. Do not allow my confidence to offend your insecurity, because I dress like I dress because I'm confident. I look like I look because he's confident. We walk like we walk because we're confident. I don't even use cologne. Now, somebody asked me, what is that you're wearing? I said, confidence. It's my natural odor. It's my natural odor. I don't have to use Dolce or whatever it is. It's my natural odor. Come on, coach, let's do it. Because if you look good, you feel good. And if you feel good, you play good. If you play good, they pays good. Sometimes you.
I had to run that. I had to run that to get this stream started. And the main reason was because there's just so much talk right now. And good morning. It's early for me generally to be doing this type of thing, but this isn't the quintessential Villager on Deck. Excuse me. So the main reason I wanted to come up, I wanted to make sure that I was in the right vein. And anytime I hear Deion Sanders speak, I got to really listen to it. Then I got to process it. And then, I can get into the right vein. And one of the things that he spoke about just about right there was about confidence. And everybody is not a confident individual. Everybody is not a confident individual. Sometimes that confidence has to be cultured. And sometimes it has to be developed and cultivated and different things like that. I think Deion Sanders was born with confidence. Now, I didn't know him before. I heard about him in 1988, 89 as a football player, but something tells me that Deion has always been confident. So, good morning, Brother McGee. How you doing today? Where we are in this state now, and when I say state, I think a lot of people look at what Deion is doing in this environment as arrogance, cockiness. They don't look at it as confidence. And the culture that he's developing now at Colorado University, same type of culture that he built at Jackson State University. I believe that people are looking at it as some type of braggadocious fare. And it's merely just Deion Sanders' confidence and his ability to create culture wherever he is. He did it when he played football. He did it when he played baseball. I'm sure he did it when he played or when he ran track in high school and college. He does it wherever he's at. He did it after playing football and baseball when he became a sports commentator. And he's coached all along. So he's developed a culture sculptor mentality. And if you are under his guise, you are under his tutelage, under his development, you are too going to be confident. And I don't believe that everybody gives him the credit for what he does with young men and developing their confidence. Football is a brutal sport. Football is a barbaric sport. And the one thing that you have to do in that is you've got to be a beast. I mean, you've got to be a beast. I don't even care if you're a kicker. If you're a kicker or a punter, you still have to have a beast-like mentality. It's a feast or famine, it's a kill or be killed type of environment. But throughout that time that he's been able to coach these young men, young boys, all the way up into young men, he's developed a father figure type of attitude with them. He's also built some of the craziest relationships with other coaches, other facilitators, anybody else that he's been around. You hear anybody that talks about Deion Sanders, rarely will they say anything negative about him or talk about him talking negatively about anybody, because that's part of his confidence. He doesn't need to talk you down to build himself up. He already sees himself on the upper echelon level. So why does he need to talk anybody down? And he's become this ridiculous builder, and that's hurting people's feelings around college football, even people that aren't even in the game. I've been on so many posts over the last few days, just as I've been really, over the last several months. When he took the Colorado job, people they want him to fail. They want him to fall flat on his face. And my thing is, when has Deion ever fallen on his face? Now, he's lost games. He's lost championships. He's lost all types of stuff. But when have you ever seen Deion fall and not get up? And that's a huge thing for me, because one of the things that we do now is when people fall, they kick them, and they keep kicking them. They don't try to build them back up. They just keep kicking them. He knows, what did you say, Abraham? He knows football. He has a PhD in football and in inspiring people. Absolutely. He absolutely does. And see, people don't understand his acumen for the game of football. They think just because he was a great football player that he's supposed to know it. But if that was the case, then all football players will become football coaches. His football IQ is off the charts, but he also knows every position and what every position is supposed to do. And he's able to not only teach that, but bring in the coaches who can even teach it better than him. And that's the thing that I thought was so great with him at Jackson State. He didn't try to control the coaching staff at Jackson State. He brought them cats in that knew as good, if not more than he did, and he let them play his game, just like they're doing in Colorado. He didn't go out and get a whole bunch of lackeys so he could control everything. He went out and got experts, flat out experts, to coach this Colorado football team. And nobody's looking at that. But that's the sign of a leader. That's a true sign of a leader. And what I've tried to do was break some things down. I'm not going to come up right now because I really want to get these slides popping. But one of the things that when he first became the coach of Colorado, the first thing that you said, I got the thumbnail up there now where he's actually posing with the it wasn't posing here, actually it was a pep rally with their super fan Peggy. She's 98 years old. Then their AD, if you remember when he first got the job, the AD told him they didn't have the money. They did not have the money to bring Deion in. They were hoping that they would be able to woo Deion and convince him to come, but they did not have the money. And it was a joke that was made. It was a joke that, what's going on, cuz? Happy birthday to you. He's a real coach, and he lets his players be themselves. Absolutely. That's the true sign of a real coach. He lets athletes be athletes, and he cultivates what he needs to cultivate within them and their athleticism, but he lets them be themselves. And that's how you can get the full potential out of anybody, whether it's on a sports playing surface or not. But one of the first things that I saw was this here. And I like to call this prime believers. Prime believers, because when they signed Deion to a $29.5 million deal and didn't have the money to pay him. I mean, where are they going to get the money from? They won one game last year. They've been to 2 bowl games in the last 20 years. Where were they going to get the money from? The stands been empty. Boosters done walked away. Ain't nobody been doing nothing. And he said, we do not have the money yet, but I know we'll get it. And the Colorado fans donated $28 million, $28 million to the athletic department. And they sold out season tickets for the first time in 27 years. 27 years. Now, ain't nobody else done that in college football. Forget about the wins and losses. Forget about the national championships. Ain't nobody had a type of turnaround like that in their football program ever. See, I look at other things than the score. Okay, I couldn't care less about the score. Absolutely, I'm happy that they won the game, but he had already changed the culture, and this is one way that it shows that he changed the culture in Colorado. Okay, he changed the culture, and what he's done with all these other coaches, basically backbiting the whole time he's been out here. They want him to fall on his face. They want him to fall flat. They want Colorado to lose games just like they were losing by 20, by 30, by 40 points. I mean, to lose on an average by 20, that means you getting beat in some of them games by 30, by 40. You might have had a close game or two. But then they come out and they're 21-point underdogs and they beat the national championship runner-up. I understand. TCU is not the same team as they were in that national championship game. But you come in with that type of hoopla. You come in, it's on your territory. You come in with a team that only won one game last year. If the culture hadn't been changed in Boulder, how would they have even got close, let alone win? So that's what I'm talking about. I'm talking about culture over coaching. And Coach Prime is culture. He's flat out culture. If anybody else is in college football is bigger than he is, I want to see him. It's not Nick Saban. It's not Brian Kelly. It's not anybody that's out here. I don't care what school they're at, how many championships they won. Nobody can do what Deion's done. On the flip side of that, not to throw no shade, but look at Jackson State now. Look at Jackson State. They got crushed in their first game. I didn't want to see that. I wanted them to keep winning. That brother looked like he was going to be a solid individual to take over from Prime, but they got crushed. Why? Because the culture has shifted. Hopefully it hasn't switched all the way back to where they were before Prime got there, and they can turn that ship around. But Prime did his job. He brought more money to Jackson, Mississippi than anybody else had ever done. And when he left, a lot of that money left. Some of it stayed, but a lot of it left. What you say there, cuz? Helped change the culture of football, all levels of football, since he's been, yeah. And they don't want to give him the credit for that because at that point, you now you're saying, oh, and let me just be frank. It's honest and early. Oh, this nigger, he thinks he's doing something. Well, yeah, he does. He's not a nigger, but yeah, he does. Because he's always done something. He's always changed the culture. But that's what they're saying behind his back. I guarantee it. Not every white coach. I know every white coach don't think like that. But Deion, I'm sure he's been called niggas so many times over the last several days by people, whether it be under their breath or they saying it out loud. They was being so nasty and so vile when he was walking the sidelines, just trying to get off the field, get back to his team before the game. They were just being nasty at TCU. There ain't no reason to be like that. And I ain't never seen nobody else catch that type of heat but Deion, because he's a winner and he's been winning and he's going to keep winning. He's going to have some bumps in the road this year, especially. I don't expect him to go 12-0. I don't expect him to be in the college playoff. Absolutely not. But they're going to scare some people and they're going to beat some people that they weren't supposed to. Why? Because he brought in the players he needed to bring in and he's changed the culture. You can have a whole lot of beasts on your team. Don't mean you're going to win a national championship. Alabama's proven that. Other teams with great players have proven that. You can have the best players on your team. Just because you got the Heisman Trophy winner every year doesn't mean you win in the national championship. More times than not, you don't win the national championship. He might be a great player, but it doesn't mean you got a great team. They don't want to give him his credit. And the reason they don't want to give him his credit is because he's a threat. He's a flat-out threat. When you see a confident black man sitting up in here talking his talk, walking his walk. That's kind of threatening. No, it ain't kind of threatening. He was being modest there. And you ain't going to see Deion Sanders be modest too many times. He was being modest there. That's kind of threatening. Nah, it's really threatening. As a matter of fact, it's going to cost some people some jobs out here. It's going to cost some people some jobs out here because they're going to be looking at their program like, whoa, how come we can't do that? Why? Because the dude you got in place is probably a dictator. Deion's not a dictator. He changes culture. And he can show you what has he been using this week? Receipts. He can show you receipts. He's been a winner and gonna be a winner. The kid that scored all the touchdowns on Saturday, they want to talk about, how did he get him? He's been coaching the kid since he was 4 years old. He's been coaching that kid since he was 4 years old. You didn't think he was supposed to end up with Deion if Deion's coaching at a big-time college program? Where else was he going to go? Who else has been around him in his life more than his father? He's been coaching him since he was 4 years old. I see you, cuz. You bring the village home. Don't think I ain't ready. Don't think I ain't ready, because absolutely he's absolutely changed the culture, just as Jim Harbaugh has changed the culture, but it has not produced the wins that everybody wants in Ann Arbor. It has not produced the wins that everybody wants in Ann Arbor. But this right here lets you know he changed the culture, because now he's got people eating his cooking, just like Prime has people eating his cooking in Boulder. When they wore these T-shirts out there on Saturday and they lined up in that formation, that lets you know the culture has changed. He's not just a football coach. He's changed the culture. They went out and got Rich Rodriguez, fail. Brady Hoke, fail. Jim Harbaugh, most of the years he's been here, mediocre. He's just now turning it around. He was a great player, and he's a great coach, but it didn't mean it was going to happen immediately. But look what's happening now. Everybody's buying into it, and they starting to win. Oh, yeah, I'm here for it this morning. I'm definitely here for it this morning. But, yeah, let's get back to Coach Prime. What you say there, Ibrahim? Coaching is a white man's no job. This is why they don't want us coaching our kids. Who else is more qualified to coach our people than us? Absolutely. I've always felt this way. I know every single player is not going to be a great coach, but I don't like people that have never picked up a ball and they ain't never had their bodies go through what these kids' bodies go through. I don't care on what sport it is. You can just come in and you are some type of understudy, some type of coach's assistant, or maybe even a coach's kid, and you get a position as somebody that's went through the rigors of the game and knows the game backwards and forth. I've never liked it. And I've talked about it in my circles. I just don't talk publicly about it a lot of times because that's really not my steez on my cast. But today, it's not just the Villager on Deck. I'm the Villager on Sports. Because I know more sports than most of these people out here. I just don't talk about it. It's just not where I need to be. But I've always felt we should be coaching our own kids because we went through it and we know our kids. You bring in somebody who doesn't know our culture, who doesn't know our kids, and the next thing you know, they saying something sideways to. I believe a lot of this stuff that's happening out here, I don't condone any of the violence. I don't condone any of the out-of-pocket behavior, but I believe a lot of this stuff that's happening out here with these coaches and parents and things like that is because coaches are now slinging that word around that a lot of people don't like to hear, but a lot of people say. And I ain't never let no coach say that around kids that I was coaching or kids that I was around. Hell, I refrain from saying it myself when I've coached kids. And I sling it around all the time. But you don't see more white coaches over the last several years get accused, or not even accused, have it proven that they out here calling black players niggers. Oh, they niggers now. They your boy when they running touchdowns, when they making tackles. But when they not doing what you want to do, they niggers. Who was that coach that was up in the hotel room talking about all the crazy stuff? And I believe he still got a job. Acting like he was calling some escort service and he was trying to find some hoes, this, that, and the other. Those are code words for black people. And he still got a job. What'd you say there, Freeway? Prime dipped into everybody's recruiting pool and one get. Yes. Yes. I'm ready for you too, Freeway. I'm ready for you too. I'm ready for you too. Look at that. Look at that. What paparazzi Trip say? This is this is the last this is the last coach you want to see having a post-game conversation with your players. No, you don't want Prime talking to your players after the game. You don't want Prime talking to your players after the game. Whether they win or lose, don't let Prime come up and talk to your player after the game. You better get your players off the field. That was a pep talk right there. I don't even know who that Newton kid is, but that was a pep talk right there. Don't be surprised if he don't go in the portal and be at Colorado next year. I mean, I hope he's happy at Texas, but if he's not, I'm sure Prime can find a spot for him in Boulder. Lou Holtz, yes. He's one of them, yes. He's absolutely one of them. Lou Holtz was a race soldier. Lou Holtz was a race soldier for real. Yeah, I always want to talk about what kind of football mind he had. He might have had a football mind, but he also had a race soldier mind. Yeah, Lou Holtz had a Jim Crow state of mind. Because sports were made for blacks to put a show on for the whites. Hey, here's the thing. Here's the thing. We all know if every single black American player decided to walk away from the world of sports, people would have to find something else to do. People would have to find something else to do. Sports is only so entertaining because you have American blacks. Now I know there's some other melanated folks that play sports now, but if you take away all the American freedmen players, y'all know that's where I identify as. Y'all want to say American black, I'll work with that. Some of y'all gonna say African American, some of y'all gonna say colored. So y'all do what y'all want to do. But y'all know if every single American freedman player decided to just put down whatever they play, sports changes today. It changes today. People will be finding other stuff to do. Sports is no longer as entertaining anymore. And I know that's not going to happen. But I've been saying that for years. I get tired of people talking about, well, they need to start their own league. No, you can't start your own league. It's not that easy. It's not that easy. What they need to do is they need to figure out how we can get into this infrastructure the right way. We play, then we coach, and then we need to own. We don't just need to play and then retire and be broke within 6 years, because that's what happens. We play, we retire, and we broke within 6 years. Now, I know there's some bad money management situations that come along with some of those situations, but what about the people who didn't manage their money badly? Hell, I know people that have gone broke just because they've had to pay for their health insurance, for themselves, for their families. And you done built up all these ridiculous bills while you do play. Because there ain't no financial literacy programs in the NFL, in the NBA, in Major League, or any sport. And it needs to be. Because when they give you all that money, they don't tell you that half of it's already gone for taxes. They just give it to you. And they post them big headlines. $100 million contract. No, it's a $50 million contract. $25 million contract. No, that's a $12.5 million contract. Minus. What's good with you, Tony D? NBA and NFL keep blocking blacks from buying teams. Absolutely. I get it. I totally get it. That's why there needs to be some pulling back of it. There needs to be some pulling back of the talent. I don't mind seeing some of these guys go overseas and play. I don't mind it at all. Show them what they're missing. And get clauses written into your contract where you get shares. I know a lot of people thought it was crazy back in the day when Magic Johnson signed that $25 million contract for 25 years. No, that was shares into the LA Lakers. That was shares into the LA Lakers. Now, What does Magic have? He has a stake in that team. And that stake is like collateral when he goes and buys everything else that he's been buying all these years. You have to be voted in to be on the NBA board. I get it. But take less money and look for shares into the teams that you play on. That's what needs to happen, but nobody's talking to people like that. I know they're really big, and this guy Rich Paul, and he's getting a lot of the younger players now because he's gotten LeBron, and LeBron's gotten to the level he's got. Well, Rich Paul, he probably is going to have one of the better opportunities as a sports agent to become an owner because he's got LeBron in the bag, because he's got a lot of these young athletes. He needs to start signing on some of these kids, saying when you sign your contract, you want shares into the team. And these are shares that they can't reverse. You are part owner of the team that take effect once you retire. But nobody's talking to kids like that. Just money and cars and this and that and houses and whatever. What up, Sheik? Out there on the left coast. Deion has done his thing, and he's going to continue to do his thing. When he signed this kid who was the number one player in high school, everybody was mad. How'd he do it? They accused Deion and Jackson State of paying him $1 million. Deion wasn't getting paid $1 million. Where'd they get $1 million from? Deion wasn't making $1 million a year. I don't think no HBCU coach is making $1 million a year, but they gave $1 million to Travis for him to come to Jackson, Mississippi. No, he came because of Prime. He came because of the culture sculptor. And then once he got there and Prime said, I'm up out of here, he went to Colorado with Prime. He could have stayed in Jackson and been a beast. But all over the field. He would have probably played 100 snaps for Jackson State this past week too. And been a beast. They still would have lost, but he'd have been a beast. No, he's going somewhere that's going to give him the best opportunity to get to the next level. And I hear he's actually a good student because I know he's really smart. That's one thing about Prime too. He don't have no dummies around him either. You ain't gonna see nobody mumbling on the mic in a post-game interview. You ain't gonna see nobody up there. No. You thank God, you thank your mama, you thank your daddy, and get on with the business. Answer the questions and get on. Because that's Deion. He's an oratory cat. He ain't never got up on the mic mumbling and fumbling. When you look at American Freeman men can't even get a high school varsity job at every level. We are locked out. Think about Mark Jackson. Yeah. He built the Golden State Warriors, and they pushed his ass out. As soon as they got to the apex, ready to get over to the other side, they pushed him out. And he had no stake in the game. Has he even gotten a head coaching job since then? He went straight to the booth. And now I think they fired him from the booth. He ain't even in the booth no more. I have to give credit to Steve Kerr, because Steve Kerr has always paid homage to Mark Jackson. But paying homage, now we don't need nobody to pay homage. We don't need nobody giving us our flowers. Give us ownership. We need deeds, not leases, which are contracts. We need deeds to the team. We need keys to the building. Not an access card to get into the locker room. We need keys to the building. We've got situations that happen all over this country every day where we're getting locked out of shit. Sports is really just one entity. But because it's what we're talking about today, yeah, we get locked out. Look at what they did to Deion. They told him that he couldn't be a coach at Florida State because he hadn't graduated from college. Deion didn't go to class his whole last year of being at Florida State. He didn't go to a class. He wasn't never ineligible. They made sure he was eligible every week. They didn't say nothing about him not getting no college degree when he was there then. But when he was up for the job, they chose somebody else. Now look at their ass. And then the number one player who would have gone to Florida State, if Deion had told him, no, go on to FSU, I endorse it, Travis Hunter would have ended up there. But instead, he had another platform to land on. Come on with me. I'll take care of you. And that's what he did. I don't know if y'all remember the movie Drumline or not, because this is what made me think of that when I saw him talking to that player after the game. This is what made me think of Deion. Remember, J. Anthony Brown was the band leader for that other school. And he basically just told Nick, come holler at me. Just come holler at me. That's what we need to be doing out here. We need to be doing that with all of our kids. Come holler at me. Don't leave them on the slab. Come holler at me. I know you made a decision that you had to make at the time, but I got a position over here, and I'll put you in proper play. You just ain't going to be a number over there. You're going to be somebody over here. Because when this kid right here ends up in Boulder, don't say I told you so or didn't tell you so. Don't say I didn't tell you so, because this right here is what Deion is doing. Come holler at me. Oh yeah, Morris Brown. Yeah. See y'all at the Classic. See y'all at the Classic. It's all good. I knew what you meant. But that's the type of attitude we have to keep our kids in the fold. Or if not, they're going to end up at PWIs getting disrespected in the portal. Hell, Deion got a player that actually had a hardship. I think his name is Tyler Brown. You look up Tyler Brown. Look up Tyler Brown's story. And they got him on the sidelines right now. They would not let this kid play now. And he literally had a hardship. Uh-oh, what's that? What's going on there? They got Tyler on the sidelines. Will not let this kid play. And he was a true hardship transfer. His coach died. He went through all type of mental health issues. And they won't let him transfer and play this year. They let him transfer, but they're not letting him play. They're trying to punish these kids for doing what's best for them, for doing what's best for their family. Yes, sir. Absolutely. Absolutely. We create the culture. We create the culture. And they know it. But then once they get to these places, you just a number, man. You just a number. They woo you, they recruit you, they tell you all kind of stuff on them recruiting trips, tell you everything when they sitting in your living room, and when you get there, you just a number. And I know some of these teams and schools, they got rituals and stuff where you got to earn your stripe on your helmet, you earn this and you earn that. I get all that stuff. But what about that life that those kids are living on these campuses? Square peg trying to fit into a circle. And they don't do nothing for them outside of what the mandatory shit that they have to do for them. That's why I believe our kids need to be with our coaches. It just ain't enough of us right now. Hopefully Eddie George is the next one to get up out the HBCU and get to the other side. And I'm not saying I need all the kids to leave HBCUs, but HBCUs, they have a problem with going out and getting that money unless it's for the HBCU. To bring the kids in, you got to bring the money in. Look what Deion did in just 2 years. Look who he brought in. American Airlines, Walmart. They out there building fields and building facilities and all kinds of stuff. But HBCU presidents, they too proud to beg. They'll go beg the boule bourgeoisie people, and they ain't doing it but dropping off $50 a month. Deion went out and got tens of millions of dollars, and it got dropped off in Jackson, Mississippi, and they still didn't want to pay the brother. Brother Trey, what's good with you? You sit there, cuz? Ohio State did my cousin the same way. He was number 2 running back in the country and benched him when he got there. Yeah, they make all kind of promises to us. Come here, we'll have you here. Come here, we'll have, yeah. I know. And they get us, they woo us with all the swag, with all the promises and everything. And I don't even want to talk about what they talk to the mothers and the fathers about. You know, if you ever seen any of them football movies about recruiting and stuff, all that stuff is times 10. Cars, money, the promises, houses. And when the kid gets there, they turn their back on you. They turn their back on you because they got it to throw around like that. And it's a beautiful thing when you see somebody like Deion Sanders, who really didn't have to do nothing for the rest of his life. And he went out and got kids that can do this. First time in the history of Colorado football, 4 receivers over 100 yards. Dylan Edwards, somebody that he coached since he was 4 years old. Travis Hunter, the former #1 player in the country, playing both ways. Jimmy Horn Jr., his daddy played in the NFL. Xavier Weaver. I don't know much backstory on him. But what I do know is that none of them would be in Boulder if it wasn't for Deion Sanders. None of them would be doing what they're doing right now if it wasn't for Deion Sanders. None of them would be doing anything if it wasn't for the culture sculptor. He is the culture sculptor. He makes you believe you can do things you can't do. There's the old saying, they'll run through a brick wall for that coach. They'll run through a brick wall for him. And that's where he's got these kids. Ain't even been there a full year yet. 86 new players on the team. 86. 86. Ain't nobody out there doing that. You don't take that's a brand new football team. That's a brand new football team. And then he brought in some main cog skill players from Jackson State, some hogs from Jackson State. And he's already beat the national championship runner-up. Brother Idris, what good with you? You can't do that unless you change the culture. You got to get into the hearts of these young men. You got to get into the heads of these young men and not filling up with a bunch of lies. This is another thing that I saw. I'm going to put it up in just a second. Let me see what Ibrahim said. Something tells me that Nick Saban won't be doing no Aflac commercial. I don't think so. I don't think they're going to run it back, Ibrahim. I don't think they're going to run it back. Some tells me there won't be a 23-24 commercial with Aflac. Nick going to have to do that commercial by himself, or Aflac might drop Nick and go find somebody else to get with Coach Prime. Real talk. Real talk. What'd you say, Sheik? That's who my son wants to play for. Yeah. Tell him to keep his nose to the grindstone. Tell him to keep his nose to the grindstone. He could end up in Boulder. I done seen the way them moved about. He could end up in Boulder. I mean, if you wanna be the best, why not learn from the best? And look at all the people that he brings in. He done brought in multiple receivers, Hall of Fame caliber receivers, if they're not already in the Hall, to Boulder to talk to them receivers. That's what you do. Show them. Don't snow them. Don't sell them a dream. Show them the dream. Have them live in the dream. These kids probably done met more professional athletes, more people of prominence that can take them to the next level with the tutelage of Deion Sanders in 8-10 months than they ever met in their life. And they all go to the football camps, all the top camps. But they ain't never been face-to-face with as many people and been able to have Q&As with as many people that actually know the game, not blowing smoke, know the game. Sit-down sessions. Appreciate you, bro. But yeah, this is what I wanted to get to. They got a problem with this. They got a problem with this. He don't have C's on the kid's jersey. He ain't having no captains. He said, I got leaders and I got dogs. I got leaders and I got dogs. And that's what you need. You got to have leaders on your team. And the quarterback is generally what they call the coach on the field. He's got to be a leader. And then you got Travis Hunter on the defense. He's got to be a dog. Not to say that he's not a leader, but he's got to be a dog. Show me the other players that played 100 snaps last Saturday. I need to see every other player that played 100 plus snaps last Saturday. Show me. I need to know. I need to see them. I didn't even hear of another kid playing 100 snaps last Saturday. Because most of the games that you see in the early part of the year are powder puff games, unless it's a team that's trying to get a paycheck and they know they're going in somewhere to get beat up. But show me that kid. Show me a kid from a small school that played 100 plus snaps and was a difference maker. Over 100 yards receiving. I don't know how many tackles Hunter had, but he had a pick. He was mad at himself. He dropped a touchdown pass. He's like, I should have caught that. That won't happen again. Because he's a dog. Because he's a dog. And that's what you have to be out here. You got to be a dog. And you got to be a leader. He's changing the culture. Watch when other coaches start coming up with that L and that D on their jerseys. Leaders and dogs. If you tell a kid he's a dog, show him how to be a dog, he'll be a dog. That's culture, psychological conditioning. Absolutely. I'm sure Travis had to earn that title, as will every other kid that gets that D on his jersey, as will every other kid that gets that L on his jersey. They've got to learn. Get in their minds, get in their hearts, and they'll do everything that you need them to say. This team won 1 game last year, been to 2 bowl games in the last 20 years. Ain't had a sold-out season in 27 years. Don't tell me he ain't changing the culture. Don't tell me that. I'm telling you, it's going to be a lot of this. There's going to be a whole lot of this. And it's going to be a whole lot of this. He going to be talking to kids after the game. Give me a call. I can hear him now. Give me a call, baby. That's what Prime going to be saying. Give me a call, baby. And they going to be calling. And they going to be calling. He probably got somebody specifically set looking at that transfer portal. You know who just went into the portal? You know who just went into the portal? Oh, he said, already happening. Absolutely. It's already happening. And it's supposed to. That's the way it's supposed to be. So, yeah, I'm looking at great things. What's up, Brother Prime? I'm looking at great things to happen in Boulder. Oh, that was crazy to me. 6 penalties the whole game. 86 new players. 6 penalties. Generally, when you bring in a whole new offensive line, when you got a new quarterback, when you got a whole new receiver core, you're going to have all type of miscues, illegal motions, illegal shifts, illegal procedures. Linemen getting crisscrossed. 6 penalties the whole game, y'all. Who does that? Who does stuff like that? Prime. The reason? Because he's the GOAT. He's the absolute GOAT. And nobody wants to talk about that part. What was the thing? There's a little girl. She gonna have to walk this comment down. Hold on one quick second. I just had it. I know I did. There we go. Yeah. Let's bring this one on up. 6 penalties the whole game. And I don't know who this little harlot was, but she walking this back down. The only thing worse than Shadur Sanders' QBR is my GPA. Well, baby, you must be a genius. You must be a genius. Because his QBR is 140. Is your IQ 140? I know your GPA can't be 140, but his QBR is 140. So is your IQ 140? No, you probably got an IQ like Forrest Gump, about 75. You just trying to marry up. They send their daughters to college in Texas to get a husband, not to get a degree. Don't fuck with me. When I saw that, I'm like, look, and look at that, they all standing around looking stupid. They all standing around looking stupid. If you turn that sign down, can't none of them spell Shadur. Hell, most of them probably can't even spell Sanders. The only thing worse than Shadur QBR rating. How could his QBR rating be bad when it was his first game? They talk shit in the wrong way. The most wrong way. That's craziness to me. That's craziness to me. And then he goes out and put up 5-10, 4 touchdowns. Oh, I forgot. No interceptions. No interceptions. None. 0. Who's out here throwing for $5 with no picks? What was he, 38 for 47? 47 passes he threw, not one interception. First game in a hostile environment. Went from an HBCU to FBS, national championship runner-up at their home field. No picks? Oh, okay. Yeah, okay. What you put up there, brother Idris? I can't click that. I can't see it from my chat. But that's because he's a culture sculptor. He's not just a football coach. He's not just a football coach. He's a culture sculptor. And he's a threat. Because he's loved already, not because he coached, because hell, he just coached his first game. They loved him when he got there. They loved him without pretense. They saw who he had been his whole life, from college to pro, football, baseball, coaching. You don't think Colorado went and did some background checks on Deion? Of course, everybody gonna say good stuff about him, but don't you think they tried to find some stuff to think, well, we don't really want to bring him in here until we know for sure. No big time program does. Ain't no dirt on Prime. Ain't no dirt on Prime. And that's every young man's dream on the right-hand side of that screen. That's his son, Shiloh. But he does that with all his players. He does that with all his players. All his players look at him as a father figure, whether they daddy in the house or not, whether they daddies in their life or not. He becomes a father figure. He shakes those men's hands and says, I got your son. He shakes those mama's hands and says, I got your son. He don't lie to him like all them other coaches do. I'll take care of him. I'll take care of him. Yeah, you'll take care of him all right. And the first time he don't do what you want him to do, he's a nigga. So I'm where I'm at with this. I had to get this out. My next stream was actually supposed to be about Kamala Harris, which it's still going to be my next stream, but I had to get this off my chest because I wasn't going to come at the sports thing the way everybody else coming at the sports thing because I just don't do sports like that. And it's all good. And it's all good. But I said, I'm the villager on deck, but today I'm the villager on sports. I'm the villager on sports. I could probably create a crazy sports stream. A lot of people wanted to do podcasts about sports. They don't want to really talk about the other stuff, but I just don't want to talk about scores. That's what ESPN is for. Until they go out of business. They probably about to go out of business. They done got rid of everybody. You can't tell me the ESPN ain't hurting right now. Only people they paying over there is Stephen A. And then Stephen A just gave Shannon a job. Everybody else going on to the other side. Queen Cosetta, how you doing today? It's been a long time since I've seen you in the chat. We're not talking reparations today, Queen, but we're talking repair. We're trying to repair our situation. We got to repair our equity count on this sports landscape. And I appreciate you being here. He is now. I'm glad he got up from the overseer's seat. I'm glad he got up out of there. It was about 6 months too late. He should have left. He should have left the day that Skip disrespected him. And he had been disrespecting him really the whole time. But the day that he called him a bum compared to Tom Brady, okay. He should have flipped that damn table over on Skip. Skip's Air Jordan should have been in the air and should have never came back. That's the way I felt about that. Appreciate you. He said, this was a good show, very interesting and informative. I hope my other ones are good too. I know some people don't like the other stuff I talk about, and maybe I'll talk about sports a little bit more sometime, but he said, this is a good show, very interesting and informative, unlike your other shit that you be doing. I appreciate you, Lee Matt. Somebody left a comment about the video I left with my granddaughter. Like, this is the best interview you've ever had. I'm like, dang, she's 4 years old. I ain't been doing no work out here. It's okay. That's okay. That's the way y'all want to treat me. Now he decided to play it cool and get all his money. And I ain't mad at him. I'm saying that here, but no, I'd have set that trap. That's what he did. He set that trap for Skip because when he didn't walk away from Undisputed, Skip thought he had him. Skip thought he had him when he didn't walk away. He thought he had him, but Shannon was plotting. He was plotting. He was waiting and debating for oh so long. 6 years. It took 6 years, but look at him now. He got Club Shay Shay. That's his whole thing now. He got Club Shay Shay. That's his thing. And he's up there with Stephen A., the highest paid person at ESPN. I'm good with it. Well, other than, I guess, Pat McAfee, but I don't think he really counts. He's on a whole different level. Appreciate you, man. Appreciate you. No, I'm just messing with you. I'm silly up in here too. I'm just messing with you. Now, I appreciate anybody that checks out these streams because, like I said, I'm not the quintessential caster. I get it. I'm not like these other outfits out here to be doing some things, for that change. I didn't even put up a banner today and request any Cash App, any PayPal. I didn't do all that. I forget half the time. Half the time I forget for any type of, contributions, donations or whatever to the platform. The last time I got a nice donation, I bought this mic. That's what I do. I mean, all I do is go into it ain't paying no bills. Anything that I get, I get a little twos, a little fuse. It bought this mic. That's what it did, or it helped do it. Really, what it helped do it, But a lot of people, they're out here just for the super chat money, just for the Cash App, just for the PayPal, just for the Venmo. If I'm gonna do it for that, I'm gonna go actually join somebody's situation and just say, pay me, if that's what it's about. But no, I get to speak my piece here. That's where I'm at. Appreciate you, Freeway Dread. You've been rocking with me for a while, bro. I appreciate you. And the thing is, if I can't be me, I can't be nowhere anywhere. I'm 53 years old, y'all. Most of y'all know that. But I'm 53 years old. I'm a grandfather. How I look, have somebody maneuvering me around at this point. Absolutely. I can acquiesce with an environment. I can learn. I don't know everything. I'm sure somebody else is going to kick the same type of stuff as me. Probably not the same way, but they're going to kick the same type of information. They got the same access to the slides. This is the only original slide that I got. Everything else I got offline. But the way I do things just a little bit different. And, I'm not everybody's cup of tea, but that's okay. I don't need to be everybody's cup of tea. For the people who check me out, I am grateful. For the ones who don't, I am grateful. I got lurkers out here. They never make comments in the chat. I never know they're here. They don't like the videos. They just watch and they just lurk. How y'all doing today? How y'all doing when I do these streams and I don't be smoking, don't be cussing a whole lot? Y'all don't like that. Y'all like it when I'm unhinged, when I'm fired up. You know what I'm saying? Y'all like it when I'm smoking and cuss. Look at him. He all out of control. How you like this stream today? How you like it? I'm trying to tell you, I'm one of the most diverse motherfuckers ever. Y'all just don't know it. Y'all just don't know it. It's all good though. I'm good with it. But yeah, brother Dion is doing his thing, and he's going to continue to do his thing just because he's a culture sculptor. He's a culture sculptor. Mo Johnson, what's good with you, bro? What's good with you? You back in town for good, or you just here on an extended vacation? You've been out there in the land of the casinos for so long. I thought you might have just came back home. Say, you know what? I'm back here for good. Appreciate you, man. Appreciate you. Yeah, I'm just trying to speak my piece with it, man. I'm just trying to speak my piece because what Prime has really done. Just to visit, I got you. Ain't nothing wrong with that. You can always come home. You know this. You can always come home. You always need to come check on your mama. You know this. I wish I had that luxury still today. But yeah, it's a beautiful thing, man. It's a beautiful thing. So Dion's going to continue to be who he is, and he's going to continue to develop people as far as the coaches that he brings in, people around him to keep that program strong. But he's going to develop these young men. And when he gets a kid like Dylan Edwards at 4 years old, don't think Dylan Edwards is going to be the last one. Oh, there's going to be more. This going to come up. Yeah, Prime known me since I was 5. Prime known me since I was 7. He's known me since I was, yeah. They coming. They come. Prime's here. They coming. You know, they coming. Now, what I'm not going to do is be naive up in here. Okay. I'm not going to do is be naive up in here. I'd love to say Prime is going to coach at Colorado for 10, 15 years. I don't see it. I think he's going to break somebody down at that next level, but it's going to have to be the perfect situation for Prime. He may have to come in with some type of head coach, GM capabilities, because Prime going to have to be able to bring in his own people, you know, not just his coaches. He's going to have some front office capabilities. Prime's a businessman. He ain't playing no more. He's a businessman. So he's going to have to be able to do things his way. Don't think that he ain't got full autonomy over there in Boulder. He's got full autonomy in Boulder. They letting him do his thing because they saw what he did in Jackson. They saw what he did at the high school level, at the little league level, when he played football, when he played baseball, when he ran track in college, high school. All them people been looking at him all this time. And shout out to them cats in Colorado for giving him a chance. And shout out to Florida State for snubbing him. Because I'd had a hard time rooting for Florida State. I just don't like Florida State. I like Prime, but I don't like Florida State. I ain't never liked Florida State. Yeah. Somebody gonna offer him a gig. But it's gonna have to be the right gig. It's not about the bread at this point. It's going to have to be the right gig. Prime could have stayed on the sideline. He didn't need no money. Prime done well for himself. He was in the booth. He wasn't taking no shots. You know what I'm saying? Now he's taking all these shots. His kids taking all these shots. You know, he put his kids on the firing line here, for real. Got boys on the football team. I think his daughter plays basketball. He lined all that up the right way. And that's what you want. You want that kind of man at the helm, not just somebody that's going to come in looking out for himself. And don't think when that opportunity comes along that he doesn't prep those kids and tell them kids, look, this is going to happen. He probably already told them. I'm here to win. I'm here to dominate. And then he'll be on to the next level. That's just it. And ain't nothing wrong with that. It's a business. But what I want him to continue to do is continue to cultivate these young men, because they're not going to play football all their life. Football is going to be over for most of them coming out of college. Make sure they get tight. Get right with the degree. Get right with a job and a career. Make sure they get and play like that. That's what I want to really see some of these coaches really start to turn themselves into. But I know they're not. Because if they could, they would have done it already. That's why most coaches are pissed off, because he's doing something that they could have did already. Now he coming along and changing shit. Now they're looking over their shoulder to see if they top-notch kid is looking to see where he can get in, where he can fit in Boulder. Don't think that every kid out there is feeling a little bit slighted ain't checked to see who's on that roster in Boulder. Real talk. That's where that transfer portal works. If I leave here, okay, I'm statting out better here. I'm better than this kid. Okay, bam, bam, bam. And he gonna bring them 2, 3-star kids in. They're gonna perform better than 4 and 5 stars. I can guarantee it. He'll bring a 2, 3-star in, be able to coach him up, teach him up, prime him up. He'll be a 4 or 5-star kid before prime's done with him. Absolutely. That's the way it works. That's the way it works. That's why I love Prime. That's why I love him, because he does what he did. He don't let nobody slack off. He don't care if you're the top player. He sat his own son. He sat his own son. How many coaches out there sitting their own sons, knowing they need him? He needed his son, but he sat him. And he'll do it again if he needs to. That's a culture sculptor. If I can sit mine, I'll definitely sit your ass. That's the way Prime look at it. I know he don't cuss, but you know. So it is what it is. But yeah, man, I'm gonna get up out of here. Just hit 60 minutes. No need to belabor the time. I might just clear my throat and come back and do this thing about Kamala. Supposed to do it tonight, but I don't know. I don't know if I'm gonna stay that long. I'm a little lathered up right now. I got a lot of pent up energy. Didn't sleep much last night. So I need to get that thing about Kamala off because I need to be on to the next thing. But Deion Sanders is that deal. He's that deal. And if he wasn't that deal, nobody out here would be as mad as they are. And they mad. They mad. They gonna stay mad. They gonna keep getting mad because that's who Deion is. He's a sculptor. I messed that up. Tried to close the stream out. Now I can't close it out. Stay out, mama. Oh no, I'm coming from Mamala. I'm coming from Mamala. Light-skinned folks been acting up too much, John Henry. I got to get Mamala. I'm going to get her today. That's what those folks do. They see how well we do at something, observe how it stands out. Then they plot. Prime has to keep doing his thing that works. Yep. But he needs to watch out for the blind spots and the limiting of his ability and talent as a leader. I'm glad he's who he is. And to shine their star bright. It's coming. So the thing is, I'm glad he's who he is. I'm glad he's been at the apex, brother. I'm glad he's been at the apex where he doesn't have to feel like he's got to be in a situation where he's got to go grab them nuggets. He got to do wrong stuff. Because I think Prime already knows, too, that they're going to send traps at him. They're going to absolutely send some traps at him, right? So what he's going to do, he's going to make sure if they're going to send the traps at him, then he's going to make sure that he steps over the trap. And I think he will. Every single time out. Prime don't need no money. He ain't looking for no chicks. He ain't looking for none of that craziness that all these coaches and other people get caught up in. They ain't gonna catch Prime on his computer with on some porn sites and stuff and be taking snapshots of it and putting it on social. No. Prime knows. He already knows. All eyes on Prime. All eyes on Prime. You know? Yes, sir. Step over a trap, then he's gonna shine a light on it. Yeah. He'll keep a receipt until that proper moment, till he knows all the cameras are on him, all the microphones are hot, and then he's gonna look. See, I know what y'all tried to do. I know Prime's got somebody watching his back, and he got somebody watching they back. That's what I love about him. Prime is not stupid out here. That's why he's Prime. He was prime time when he played. Now he's Coach Prime. He's always going to be at the premium. Always. And they don't like that. They done tried to snare everything from him. Couldn't do it. And Florida State's just got to be kicking themselves now. Look what they'd be right now. Look what they'd be. And I know they did good last week. Got the kid who transferred from Michigan State. I feel sorry for Mel Tucker. That made Mel Tucker look bad. What, he scored like 3-4 touchdowns? He should be up in East Lansing scoring them touchdowns. But that's okay. We'll take care of them. Was it October 21st, I think? Yeah, we'll take care of Mel. Tuck coming. Yeah, but we coming too. we coming too. So y'all be good out here, man. Y'all be good, and we'll holler real soon. Let me just go on and go out just like I came in.
You got to know what you know. They're going to call it cockiness. They're going to call it arrogance, but you're going to call it confidence. Because I don't want my confidence to, I'm going to say something and I want you to hold on to it, all right? Get your cameras ready because this is game. Do not allow my confidence to offend your insecurity. If I could get up and dance, I would dance right now. If I could get up and shout, I would shout right now. Do not allow my confidence to offend your insecurity, because I dress like I dress because I'm confident. I look like I look because he's confident. We walk like we walk because we're confident. I don't even use cologne. Now, somebody asked me, what is that you wear? And I say, confidence. It's my natural odor. It's my natural odor. I don't have to use Dolce or whatever it is. It's my natural odor. Come on, coach, let's do it. Because if you look good, you feel good. And if you feel good, you play good. If you play good, they pays good. Sometimes you got to
one
know
more
what
time.
you know. They're going to call it cockiness. They're going to call it arrogance, but you're going to call it confidence. Because I don't want my confidence to, I'm going to say something and I want you to hold on to it, all right? Get your cameras ready because this is game. Do not allow my confidence to offend your insecurity. If I could get up and dance, I would dance right now. If I could get up and shout, I would shout right now. Do not allow my confidence to offend your insecurity, because I dress like I dress because I'm confident. I look like I look because he's confident. We walk like we walk because we're confident. I don't even use cologne. Now, somebody asked me, what is that you wear? And I say, confidence. It's my natural odor. It's my natural odor. I don't have to use Dolce or whatever it is. It's my natural odor. Come on, coach, let's do it. Because if you look good, you feel good. And if you feel good, you play good. If you play good, they pays good. Sometimes.
One love.
You know, this revolution is filled with so many ironies, really. First, you tell us that it is manly to keep your word, right? If you are a man, you keep your word. And now all of the black people in this country are demanding, and even the black people in the whole world are demanding, is that you keep your word. You told us we were free. Well, then show us that we're free. You told us that there is justice, equality for all in this country. Well, then stick to your word and let us see the justice and equality for all. Or else admit to us that you're not a man, you're a bird. You're afraid of us. You're afraid to give us equal stand. You're afraid that if you give us equal ground, that we will match you and we will override you.